Thank you, my lords and ladies. What's a pirate's favorite letter? C. We fancy the sea. I don't know what it is about pirate jokes. People keep giving them to me. So our message today is getting high on God. So today we're going to talk about all the fun ways we get to get high on God. Come to church to get high. And guess what? That's what you're supposed to do. When I started going to church when I was a little kid, I always felt terrible about myself afterwards. You know, they said terrible things like I was born in original sin, there was something wrong with me, and that Jesus was a role model that I could never, ever, ever be like. And then I found Unity, and Unity said, Jesus set an example of what you already are, and you just have to embrace it and step into it. Whole different energy. So we're going to be getting high today on lots of different things. Now, one of the ways we get high is by hanging out with other spiritual people that remind us of the truth of who we are and put up principles on the TV that help us to remember. Somebody told me one time, I don't need to go to church. I already know everything. And I said, that's true. You already know everything. But our human egos try to get us to forget, and we need to hang around other people as often as possible to remind us of how awesome we are so we can remind them how awesome they are, because we need the help. Yes, we do know in our soul everything, but being around other people that remind us help us to get high. And all the things that we do, I believe, that are addictive and cause us to go to 12-step groups are all some divine discontent that says, I know I'm supposed to feel high, and I don't. And we look outside for things that will compensate, when the real high is the high on God. So number one, be around as many wonderful people that know who you are. And the ones where you can get the highest with are the ones that know all your shadow stuff, and they still know who you are. Usually those are the more rare ones, okay? But if there's people that you hang out with that no matter what you do, they always see you as less than, you want to spend as little time with them as possible. Okay, so another way we can get high is with animals. Angelina loves animals the most of anybody I know, so.
Right, so they did a study on dogs, and this would be true for cats too, that when you pet a dog and you stop petting them and they want more and they nudge you for more, well, the reason why that is like we feel good because we get the oxytocin, yummy, happy drug there, but the dog also gets that oxytocin, and that's why they want more. So if you stop, you'll be petting the dog, and you stop and nudges you for more.
Dogs want to be high too. Dogs are constantly looking for chances to get high.
Yeah.
Okay, and so if they see somebody, they don't even know you, they run up to you, and they know that if you pet them and they snuggle up to you, they're going to feel good. So there's so many opportunities for that to happen, and we often don't do that. So I'm going to sing a song now. We want you to sing along with us. It's a call and response. I used to be a YOU sponsor. The YOU are the 14 to 18-year-olds in the Unity movement, and I'd go to these rallies, and after a weekend, I would be high as a kite. And I realized, wow, energy, excitement, enthusiasm. Eckhart Tolle says that enthusiasm is one of the highest vibrations you can be in. And even the word, if you take it apart, is in theos, in God, enthusiasm. So we can feel really, really, really high. I know it sounds weird to talk about getting high in church, but really that is our nature. We are meant to be bouncing and having fun. We're meant to be like, oh, Tigger's a wonderful thing. What do we think about Tigger? Oh. Anyway, bouncing, Guess which poo character I am. Anyway. And so we're going to talk about that and sing about that. So this song is called I Get High on Loving You. Okay? And that is one of our greatest gifts, that people can be that beautiful source of connection. I just read a book called The Opposite of Hate. It's by a lady named Sally Cohn. And there's a lot of things out there now where people are compensating for the challenges that are happening in the political world. And it's the balance. God is balance. And so there's going to be lots of things. So I wanted to read this book, and it talks about how we can come together. And she says, the opposite of hate is not love. Love doesn't really have an opposite. The closest, I guess, would be fear. But love is just love. But the opposite of hate is connection. You don't always have to like or love somebody or the way they think. But if you feel a connection with them, it'll prevent you from hating them. Okay, so connection. We're looking for connection. So this is a song about connection. I Get High on Loving You. Call and response. but she can't stay in her seat. That's a good sign. I get high on loving you.
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 I don't need a train.
Don't need a train.
I don't need a ship.
Don't need a ship.
I don't need a plane.
Don't need a
To
plane.
take this trip.
Take this
I
trip.
don't want a drug.
Don't want a
I
drug.
don't want a brew.
Don't want a brew.
'Cause I get high
I get high
on loving you.
on loving you.
I get high 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 on loving you.
Your little girl,
Your little girl
your little boy.
and your little boy
Need to come out
need to come out
and feel the joy.
and feel the
I
joy.
see you as
I see you as
young and wild.
young and
'Cause
wild.
in God's eyes,
In God's
you're
eyes,
still a
you're
child.
still a child.
I get high on loving you.
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 Follow me and get high too.
Follow me and get high too.
So when I think of children of God, I think of childlike innocence and trust, okay, and faith. And so all of us have that in us, and as we bring that out and find ways to be as childlike and feel your innocence and have faith, I've been told that fear is false evidence appearing real. Unless there's a wild animal chasing you, then forget everything and run. Faith, I've heard, stands for feeling all right in the heart. Now, feeling all right in the heart does not mean you understand. Feeling all right in the heart doesn't mean it's fun. Feeling all right in the heart doesn't mean that you're totally cool with it all. Feeling all right in the heart means even if you have to go way down low in your vibration and go, I know it's all happening the way it's supposed to. That's okay. Sometimes that's the best you can do. Eckhart Tolle also talks about 3 levels of joy. The highest level being enthusiasm. The next to the highest level means, well, I enjoy doing this. I'm not necessarily enthusiastic about it, but at least I can enjoy it. And the lowest level is, I'm not really enthusiastic and I don't really enjoy it, but I accept it. Okay, so at least you're there. So at least find a place of acceptance, even if you have to do it with a little bit of a frown on your face, because at least you know that, yes, it is a divine order, but your human doesn't quite understand why it's happening. And faith, feeling all right in the heart, is for you to go to, especially when you don't really understand. You wonder what's happening so crazily. So there are 2 things that we're not supposed to talk about in over dinner. And that would be politics or religion. So let's do both. But not from a place of ideology and not from a place of right and wrong, but from a place of consciousness. So let's talk a little bit about religion. When I grew up, I was told that my religion was the only right religion and everyone else was wrong. As a matter of fact, I was told that if I even went to a church of a different denomination, I was sinning. I got to tell you something, that's some damn good marketing. Because we were afraid. That's some good marketing.
Do we need to bring hell back?
Yeah, hell sells. Oh gosh. So, you know, in Unity, what's great is we don't believe in a place called hell, but we do believe in a virtual hell, and it's the hell of fear-based thinking. And so we try to stay away from that. And so religion, when I got into Unity, and I had already known, years ago in the 80s, I developed this little sign. I didn't know about Unity yet in the early 80s, But I developed this little sign, and it has a Star of David on it, and a cross in the middle of it, and a circle around it. And I called, everybody said, what's your religion? I said, I don't go to church anymore. My religion is Armandism. Which, if you think about it, everybody's religion is really their name with an ism on the end, because we all have our own little tweaks, fine-tunings of it. So I said, my religion is Armand. I don't believe in church, Armandism. And they said, well, what's your spiritual symbol? We're confused. And I said, well, the Star of David is for Judaism, because I know lots of Jewish people. The cross is for Christianity, and the circle is for the unity of all religions. So I was already unity, I just didn't know.
Yeah.
I didn't know. And then one day in '84, somebody told me, I found a church that I think your symbol would fit with. And they said, it's unity. And I said, well, I don't do church. And they go, I know, it's a church for people that don't do church. And I started, and that was it. And the rest is history. So it was a wonderful thing. So for us to stay high, there's a fake high and there's an authentic high. So let's talk about the fake high. The fake high would be like being drunk. Okay? The authentic high would be drunk on life. Okay? Having a high versus drunk on alcohol. The fake high would be, my religion is the right way, everybody else is going to hell. It's a superiority, but it's fake because it actually comes from a basis of inferiority, and you're just compensating for it. The real authentic high is, my religion is the only religion for me, because it makes sense to me, and I respect and embrace your religion. Dalai Lama says that. Dalai Lama says Buddhism is the only religion for me. You see, once you put the for me in, you take the judgment out of it. And so embracing all religions, and Unity does that. We've got symbols and signs all over Unity churches all the time, different religions. That's how you stay high, because if you feel, I got to make sure that I do the right thing and make sure that I don't go to hell, I guess I have the one and they don't, you'll always be in a state of disconnection with all the other people that aren't doing it your way. And there's a part of you that will go, I know something's wrong with my way of thinking. I know there's something about my way of thinking that makes me feel more separate from other people, and thus you lose your buzz. Every time you feel separate from other people, you lose your buzz. And we're supposed to be buzzed a little bit. So the way we do that is by knowing and embracing and accepting all religious paths as being an individual thing for everyone, and accepting that. So that's how we look at religion in Unity, from a consciousness standpoint of embrace, acceptance, and respect. And we find our way. Unity does not teach you how to think or what to think. Unity helps you learn how to think for yourself. Okay, and you can have your own personal relationship with spirit, God, nature, whatever you want to call it. The Great Pumpkin, talking about the Great Pumpkin, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. So that is a way of staying high by not feeling separated from all the other people that think a little differently than you. So now let's talk about politics a little bit. What I would like you to imagine is, I would like you to imagine that America is a giant baseball field. Okay? And everybody on the field is part of it. The minute I say politics, somebody leaves. Okay. Now imagine in the left field, they're kind of blue. Imagine in the right field, they're kind of red. But aren't we all on the same team? Don't we need to learn to work together if we're going to have a good, strong, effective team? So I like to think of the field as a purple field. The field is purple, and everyone belongs on there. That doesn't mean we can't have vigorous debates. It doesn't mean we can't disagree. It doesn't mean we can't have picket signs. It doesn't mean we can't be activists. It doesn't mean we can't be bright blue or bright red. But the concept of consciousness around that bright blue or bright red has to be of respect and civility. So raise your hand if you feel very confident that you almost completely or completely have let go of judging people because of their religion. Well, most of us are there. We don't judge people with their religion. Raise your hand if you feel really good that you don't judge people because of their race. Isn't that awesome? Raise your hand if you have let go of any judgments you may have of someone's sexual orientation. Now, Unity was probably on the forefront of that, was very much way ahead of other people. Now, somebody came to me recently at a church and said, you didn't say anything about transgender. And I said, well, I said orientation. And they said, that's the word they like to use, they said, orientation is who you want to go to bed with. Gender is who you want to go to bed as. So I had a little education that day. So I brought that concept in. If I'm going to embrace it all, let's embrace that too. So you don't judge people for their religion, and you don't judge people for their orientation. How awesome is that? Do you feel good?
Yeah.
Raise your hand if you ever, and maybe in the last couple of years, have judged someone for their political orientation. Or their political religion. Now, I use the word orientation and religion purposely because we have already worked through the other stuff. Now it's time to work through that. Doesn't mean you have to agree. Doesn't mean you can't stand up to what you think needs to be stood up to and call things out. But to judge other people for their orientation, even politically, gets us back in that same place. Okay, I got a great one for you. Who has felt negative when they did that? Of course. You lose your buzz because you've judged and you have created disconnection and separateness right there. So my encouragement is, if you want to stay high, let go of your judgments. It doesn't mean, a lot of people tell me, oh, Armand, you want us all to be centrist. I wish I was centrist. I would love to be right down the middle and have that kind of objectivity. I don't. I have my own ideologies. I'm a certain color in my ideology, but my heart's purple. My heart is purple because I can respect all of the colors and know that, guess what? Now, this is going to be hard to take, no matter what side of the field you're on. The other people's ideology makes just as much sense to them as yours does. That can't be right. It's true. It's true. It makes just as much sense to them. And so if you can approach them with that kind of a love and see, what do they say in unity? To see the Christ in you. If you can see the Christ in them, the consciousness of them, then we can find healing. And if they are not able to talk to you civilly and respectfully, then you don't talk about it at all with them. But most people we have found, one of the first conversations we have when we meet somebody new is we want to find out a little bit about their politics. Did that this morning. Yeah. Why? Because I want to know where somebody's coming from. You know, I'm not going to go to somebody that watches Fox News and talk to them a whole lot about the Saturday Night Live episode that we enjoyed so much. I'm just not going to do that. Because they don't like that, you know. So anyway, so I like to know where people come from so we can find our common ground. So, Angelina is going to sing a song, and it's 3 little words that, to me, if we can embrace these 3 little words, no matter what happens, no matter who we talk to, no matter what we see on the news, no matter what, if we can bring these 3 little words into our consciousness, then whatever activism or voting or anything that we need to do, we will be doing it from a place of joy and empowerment and not from a place of fear. And these 3 little words are, all is well. Now there's a lot of different ways to say everything's in divine order. One is, this too shall pass. Here's a really important thing. A lot of families and friendships are breaking up over our current political system. Remember, our political system will change. Every few years it changes. You want your good friends and your good family to still be your good friends and family when it changes. And if you burn bridges now, then when it changes, the relationship has suffered too much. And I hear about these really painful stories because they didn't know all was well. Unity says everything's in divine order. What did they say in Disney movie Hakuna Matata? Same thing. What did they say in the Best Exotic Marigold Hotel? Everything will be okay in the end. If it's not okay,
It's not there.
we'll be singing that song for offertory, so prepare for that. So anyway, we're going to sing All Is Well.